for me, go so that I know. Huh? Okay, good evening, Nigerians. You are welcome once again to your station, your lovely station, Vox Edu TV. Tonight, we are continuing our conversation on Nigeria of my dream. And it's 6th August 2026. My name is Dr. Samuel David. And tonight, I have with me in the studio, Brother Louis, our professor. Brother Louis, how are you doing today?
Very well, sir, and always a pleasure to join us on the studio. Very well, sir.
And then in a bit, I'm going to ask you to introduce your new title. I understand you have a new cap to your shoulder, be a feather to your. So yeah, I'm going to ask you to tell us more about it. It's not easy. And then I have also with me Brother Wisdom Nicholas. Brother Wisdom, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. I'm very well, thank you.
Are you wearing seatbelt or what happened?
Yes, I'm wearing. Sir, I'm almost at my destination, so I'll take off the seatbelt very soon.
I just want to be sure that please drive safe. Now,
No, I'm not the one driving. I'm not the one driving.
Oh, you're not the one driving. Okay, keep safe then.
Yes.
Brad
Yes.
Louis, tell us about your new title. Let us know whether the Nigeria of my dream, whether it is happening, whether somebody is dreaming right or dreaming well or dreaming nice.
No, definitely the Nigeria of our dream will come to fruition. Actually, in November, when we go for the induction, I would have the ACS title, which is for the stockbroking institutes here in Nigeria. So, Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. I'll be an associate. So I now have, you must do the exams, pass, you get a letter. So I just received my own letter this evening, and we thank God. So hopefully in November I'll go for induction, and then if I write my name, I can put the ACS behind it. Yes, sir.
Okay, so that means if you want to invest in stocks, you can call you.
Anything in the investment space, across asset management, across trustees, financial advisory, transaction advisory, in fact, more recently, real estate investment. So anything across that investment space, and we've been doing it for more than half a decade. But this certification just shows that, okay, this is an investment professional. Next up, we'll see whether we'll go for CFA, even if it's the ESG aspect, so very excited about it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So tell us, market yourself now. Let us hear. What are you selling? You said investment. Nigeria of my dream. I'm hoping that Nigeria that have the dream will have opportunity to sell something.
Absolutely. For the Nigeria of our dreams, we would always need smart investment decisions, and smart investment decisions across liquid investments, across real estate investments, across the whole sphere. So basically what I do is around transaction advisory. There are people who have monies that want to put the monies aside for emergencies. Other people, they want to use it to pay for a life expense. Life expense includes house, for some people is car, for some people it's education, and some people that just generally want to plan their financial life. Oh, I just recently got married. What can myself and my husband, or myself and my wife, do as a schedule on a day-to-day basis to ensure that we don't go broke. So we structure those kinds of arrangements and get people to invest in the right SEC regulated opportunities. As a CIS,
that's fantastic. I
yes,
can see Brother Wisdom is showing us house. Is he selling house now? Wisdom, tell us about the house you are selling. I mean, what are you exactly doing? I can't see what you are doing. Are you marketing the house there?
We market house on a normal day, but that's not the house I'm showing you. We have a couple of estates coming up. We have the mass housing project in Kaba district, just by Brick City. It's a 20-hectare development. We're starting off with 2-bedroom terrace duplexes with an attached BQ, going for 65 million. We have other prototypes, but for now, we're just starting with the 2 bedrooms, and our targets are new home owners, middle class, and civil servants, basically. Then we have the upper tier buildings in Kukwaba, that's by Jabi Kukwaba, just by SciTech. Those ones are going for 300 million and 400 million, respectively, for the terraces and duplexes. Then we have in Guzape, as well, a 4-bedroom duplex, just a mini estate, 4 units in the compound, going for 950 million only. Only.
Okay, that's
Yes, sir.
fantastic. Nigeria of my dream. So who are the people that are going to buy the house of 0.9 billion? Brother William, Brother Louis.
And for us, what we find interesting about that property is it's more an investment property. So we've had interest from committee of friends, group of friends that run a cooperative, about 11 or 12 of them. They want to put the money together to buy it, and then they want to use it as an investment property for their expatriate friends that come in. They work in a company that frequently receives expatriates. And because the building is fully finished, it wouldn't take them another 20 or 30 million to properly furnish it. And once they furnish it, they can then be collecting abroad rents for their expatriate friends here in Nigeria. It's a good place, it's a highbrow area. So it's an investment property we manage for them, and they just have to buy and pay service charge. So yes, we have some interest for that as well.
Okay. So from your what I'm hearing from you now, if somebody puts in 900 million, what are we looking at? Return on investment.
I mean, all if I were going to say
Nicholas, you want to tell me about return on investment?
So Louis is better position to talk about return on investment.
Okay,
but
brother,
basically, yeah. So let me allow Louis talk about the return on investment.
Because I mean, this is an investment property.
It really is, and I'm not saying it must happen, because under set rules you can't guarantee an investment interest, but we are conservatively looking at, for that particular transaction, anything around between $4,000 to $5,000 on a monthly basis. So what that means is that you're already $55,000 to $60,000 at the end of the year back, and then you've already started, and you still have the value of the property. Guzape, everybody knows Guzape. So it's like real estate, but liquid. Everybody says real estate is highly liquid, but it depends on how you structure the transaction. So if you have these kinds of, special deals that are giving you that liquidity, 60,000 USD every year, it's a fantastic investment. And then whenever you're ready to sell, you will definitely sell at a higher price, than you bought it. So return on investment for that is, in plain terms, 60K USD every year.
No, but how many 60K is inside 1 billion?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just asking the question.
I definitely understand what you mean. Yeah, we're looking at a 8% flat return. But what people also miss is the value of the property as well, because it keeps going up. If anybody tells you that for a property that's fully furnished, already in a place like Guzape that is, already standard, that the property is going to double in so little a time, the person may not be saying the complete truth. It's not in a development.
What I'm looking at is that when you hear 900 million or 1 billion, the tendency is that you will say, wow, it is so high. But if you're able to tell somebody you can turn over this money in 10 years, then the person may look at it and say, wow, it's a good business. I mean, if I can turn over in 10 years, you can turn over in 15 years. Like my late mother told me that any house you can turn over in 20 years is a good investment. So I'm just looking at it from that perspective that, okay, if I go and gather loan, gather everything and put 900 million, I mean, what are we, when is my return on investment? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. We are not doubling money, because we are talking about Nigeria of my dream. And today we are going to be talking about how to explore practical ways that individuals, families, communities, and institutions can contribute to rebuilding Nigeria's culture. And therefore, and since you guys are in a real estate business, I want us to go practical on it so that we will not just be just talking theory. I mean, it's one thing to look at it and say the prices of things have gone up. Nigeria, things used to be cheaper. But again, I remember I bought my first car, 550 naira. But that is something you will save for almost 2 or 3 years. So, but today probably the cars are quite expensive. It's not 550. A brand new Volkswagen was 3,000 naira then. But how many people can afford it? So when we talk about Nigeria of our dream, and when we have investment gurus in the house, it makes a lot of sense to look at it and then be able to put it in perspective. So that we're not just say things are expensive, things are expensive, things are expensive. We should be able to say, okay, bottom line for investment is return on investment. That's the baseline. What if you make an investment, how long will it take you to recover your money? And then if you know what that is, then you can now say, okay, what are the different markets you can go into? And since you have just been certified stockbroker, so that means everything is in the house. Brother Wisdom, you are dodging to answer my question. Okay. So, for instance, the objective of tonight's meeting, one of the key objectives is to examine strategies for shaping a value-driven younger generation by strengthening ethical education, positive role model, mentorship, and civic engagement. So we like to do that. And then the last one is to inspire collective action towards bottom-up nation building. You see, but nation building must start from financial literacy. And that's why we are starting this conversation tonight with financial literacy and things that has to do with money. Because when we talk about the American space, the values that are there, it's because the people can afford a decent meal. If you cannot afford a decent meal, the values may not be there. I mean, I don't particularly believe that Nigeria should be a country full of monks and people that are poor and downtrodden. I believe that it should be a place where prosperity grows, where investment is pushed, where people can, where wealth grows. And so one of the major things, the Nigeria of my dream is a Nigeria where there is uh, uh, growth in wealth. Brother Wisdom, what do you think? Nigeria of my dream. Let's talk about wealth development, wealth growth. What do you think? How can you relate that to what we have been talking about?
So basically, in terms of the wealth distribution ratio, I think for every country that is serious about development, resources being like evenly distributed, not necessarily everybody having equal account balance sheet and all of that, but there should be a standard of living that should be recognized nationally. And when we look at our standard of living, because a good way to bench it would look you have to look at the minimum wage. What has the government set as the minimum wage? If you're setting a minimum wage of 70,000 naira, at least 77,000 naira, you've already benched the standard of living at a certain level. You're saying that people should be able to get a minimum wage job. You should be able to pay rent. You should be able to afford transportation. You should be able to feed. You should be able to buy new clothes. You should be able to keep a relationship if you're a single person and all of that. But that's not the reality of things on ground, because there is nobody that would comfortably live off on the current minimum wage. So these are things that we need to look at, because also the minimum wage sets a benchmark. So, for example, if an international organization is coming in, they will use your minimum wage as a yardstick to try to either match the current workforce or the current payroll in the workforce, or to either to sort of like balance their expenditure. So these are things that the government needs to look at to ensure that we sort of have a even distribution of resources amongst its people, because the more the spending power of the people, the better the quality of life. It's sort of related.
Okay, thank you. One thing that I would like to bring Bralu into this conversation on Nigeria of my dream is what's the percentage of Nigerians that are earning minimum wage, that are working for government? because ultimately, I mean, the government may set its own minimum wage, but the corporate Nigeria, the international development partners, etc., they have their own standard that they work by. So, what percentage of Nigerians do you think? I get what Ralu is saying. I mean, Ra Wisdom is saying that when you earn 70,000, a man that is looking for a wife like him would not be able to maintain relationship because it's
No,
not easy to go to.
but sir, these are the issues. But before you buy one shower and one La Casera, 70,000 naira has finished. Sir.
And
Ah,
thank God still someone that's still married. Because when you
ah.
say like that, it will just be like, yeah. So, Brad Wisdom, I mean, Brad Louis, so what do you think? How many, what's the impact? Because what I want to drive at tonight is, there was a conversation around, I don't know, I mean, even though there were a lot of refutal and rebuff and pushback, there was a story that was told of two individuals in Nigeria who, about 25 years ago, had 20 million naira. One of them took his 20 million naira and started a bank. And the bank is said to be one of the biggest banks in Nigeria today. I don't want to mention many names here, but maybe at the point. And then the other one took his 20 million and started flying around and marrying two wives. And then just generally catch. I'm sure you may have heard the story before, but have you heard the story before? And then he became, and then today, not that he's poor, but so somebody, I mean, there was a teaser that the 20 million 25 years ago that you did not, you used to chop life. Somebody else invested it, and today is worth billions. And so for me, looking at this conversation around Nigeria of my dream, I think it's important for us to begin to bring in the issue of investment into the Nigeria of my dream conversation. While I agree that the government has a lot to do in terms of fixing minimum wage, etc., I think also that the kind of culture that we have in Nigeria, where we have a waste culture, where we have a chop life today and forget about tomorrow culture, goes a long way in bringing poverty to the people. Where, like I was telling somebody a while ago, where the government of Nigeria would say in 1971, the problem of Nigeria is not how to make money, but how to spend it. And so today we are where we are because somebody had not had investment culture. So what do you think? Investment and Nigeria of my dream. What is there a relationship between the both? Bro,
Absolutely,
wisdom.
sir.
Louis, you
And
cannot escape this.
no, I'm not planning to run. Why am I running? I'm not planning to run. And just to even slightly backtrack, you mentioned your mother's wisdom, of course, our
Mm.
grandmother. The return on investment is actually in 10 years. And I think that benchmark that she gave you is a very fantastic benchmark. Any investment that you do and you can get your money back in 15, 20 years, large scale investment is a really good one. So that's such great wisdom from the great beyond. Then back to the conversation that we're having as well. The truth of the matter is that I mean, what's our civil service what's our total workforce population in Nigeria? I'm going to guess maybe around 70, 80, 100 million. The civil service is not more than 4% or 3%, of that. So even if we say we want to take so very good care of the civil service, irrespective of, vis-a-vis what the minimum wage might be, you still have another 90 something percent of the population to cater for who are working with market forces. Because
Yeah,
there's no way somebody will be making 10 naira in their business or 70,000 naira in their business and give you the full 70,000.
that's true.
You understand? They are working with market forces. Yes, the law has said this is what, but sometimes it's also good to temper, policy, like we said the last time, policy and law, you temper it with reality also, what is obtainable. And nobody is trying to go against the law or anything, but you look at the facts that are on ground. For the 20 million example, I mean, it's a clear case of it's just what it is. If somebody now that's even a large amount of money. These days, why we are seeing a lot of chop life, a lot of chop life, a lot of chop life, is that those that would be ambitious enough to, set up a bank and all those things, they have mentors, they are doing it the right way. Those that you have vim, you have audacity, but you don't have direction, if you are so motivated, you have your 5 million, your 10 million, you want to go and set up bank, and they tell you it's 2 billion, you just take that 5 billion and go to Cyprus first of all and go and cool down, because you're not, the money is not enough, But this is why financial literacy and financial education continues to remain important. You don't need to have any money for you to set up a business and for you to be successful. And I really respect, the people that use their 20 million to set up a bank that is providing world-class financial services. And for those two that also went and flexed it, they must have gained experience and they must have gained partnerships that help them to stay, afloat, whilst it may not be the same thing as the other bank. For our youth of today that are looking forward to a great Nigeria of tomorrow, it just comes down to whatever you get in, spend not all of it and try to invest the rest. Some people will go ahead to own banks, some people will not. Everybody is not going to be a bank owner. Some people will be in real estate like Brother Wisdom, some people will not. Some people will be consultants, some people will not. But the bottom line for all of us where we are now, high interest rates, inflation, exchange rate is this, the economy is bad, fuel is this. The money that has come in, try your best, make you no spend all. That's the baseline. And then as the conversation continues, we can get into deeper and deeper parts of that. But that's just where I would like to start from this night, sir.
Okay, Brother Wisdom. I'm looking at
Yes, sir.
Nigeria of my dream. Because one program that the current president of America has put on. I think about a month ago, he launched a program where every American child has an investment, and there's a counterpart. I think it's 1 million. I don't know what. I can't get it off my head now, but it's began to encourage Americans to make investments such that when a child gets into the university, that child has some savings. According to what he said, that two things will happen. There will be more money to invest by the government of the day, and then there will be savings towards the future of the child. What's your take on Nigeria of my dream? I mean, can we borrow a leaf from how the first world countries, let's put it that way, how they learned how to invest and spend their profit, rather than we in Nigeria spending our principal? I come from a state where nobody will borrow you money to start a business, but if your grandmother die, people will borrow you money to buy cow and pull a biggest Owambe, and you'll be paying the debt for the next 10 years. That is the story of my state. They will borrow you money to pull a biggest party to bury your grandmother. But if you say you want to invest in property, you're on your own. So what do you think? Nigeria of my dream. Do we need to get the youth to begin to, because we are learning a lot from the developed world, and we hope one day that will be developed, where people can stay and I hear a lot about investment. I hear a lot about what's it call it? About investment portfolio, Warren Buffett, and etc. etc. I don't think we have anybody. We don't have many people in Nigeria that trade in shares, in stocks, and in bonds, and are living on it. What do you think when we are trying to fashion a Nigeria of our dream to inspire collective actions towards nation building? Do you want to speak to that one?
Yes.
And what are
So first
the
off,
small things? What are the small things that Nigerians can invest their money on? So you don't have to get 20 million, like Brother Louis said, before you can make an investment.
so absolutely, we can borrow from what the U.S. president is doing, and I think that to correct our recklessness when it comes to spending, we have to start from the younger generation, right? The younger generation has to see that investments, savings, these are the ways to build some sort of wealth. Because the average Nigerian believes that I saw a post on, was it TikTok, where somebody said you're saving to buy a car, and the person wrote low, just better withdraw the money chop. Money to buy car now once it dey come. That's the kind of mentality that we've come to believe as a nation, that money for me to buy, I can't save towards buying a house. I can't actively save towards buying a house. I can't actively save towards buying a car. So we don't have that savings culture. We believe that once I hit a windfall, once I blow like that, the money will just come, right? But then when you sit down and you look through your statement of account for the last couple of years, so if you print your account statement for the last 10 years, you will be surprised with the amount of money that has gone through and in your account. I'm not saying all of it is profit or all of it will have been used to buy a house, but if you take a fraction of it, let's say for every 10 kobo you earn, you're saving 10% of it, and you're saving that, putting that in mutual funds, or you're using it to buy stocks. The sweet thing about investment is, I think Louis will speak more to this, by the 10th year, it begins to work. Is it 10th? I think that 10th or 15th year, by the 15th year, it begins to literally work magic for you. It feels like you're not printing money out of the air. But most Nigerians don't understand it. And by the time they understand this, it's already a little bit too late. So absolutely, we can take a cue from that. And that's also why I know Mr. Louis is passionate about financial literacy, especially for the younger generation, because if they get it right, we know that the Nigeria of our dreams would tilt in the right direction.
Thank you, sir. Now, I'm still going to come there. One of the things we said, one of our major talking points tonight is rebuilding Nigeria's culture through individual actions. And then we say practical ways citizens can promote integrity, accountability, patriotism, and respect for the rule of law. And so I'm just looking at how everyday choices and community involvement contribute to national transformation. Louis, in terms of a secured a secured future, what do you think are the things that we should put inside our curriculum? I agree that we have been talking about greeting your elders, respect for elders. But why do you, if you respect your elder and you don't have money, you are going to disrespect your elder one day? And if you are an elder and you are poor, you are going to. So I think it makes sense from the beginning to begin to put things in perspective. I mean, as a little child, Brad Louis, what do you think? Can we? Because I remember when I was small, my parents, my grandmother had a piggy bank where I was saving coins, and then at the end of the year, I break my coin and I can buy a Christmas present for other members of my family. That was something we used to do. And then for me, in fact, one thing I remember very well was that my best uncle, I saved my money, broke my piggy bank, and I had money to buy him a chicken for Christmas. And when I presented the chicken for him, he was so excited that he promised to sponsor me out of school. It was an investment that gave me a very large return. So I know, but
Very
nowadays
large
every
indeed.
child collects money, chop the money. Nobody's investing in anybody. You run after it, you snatch it, you run away, you go and blow. What do you think? Can we? Nigeria of my dream. What can we do as a family to do
Honestly,
it?
sir, I think this is it's always a conversation that we're so happy to have. Um, for the Nigeria of my dream, in terms of the kinds of attitudes that we must now start learning so that we can finally reach this Nigeria of my dream. We already know that once I start, it's from NOA down. But I just like to pick on two things today. The first one is we spoke about, what are the opportunities that are available in terms of investments and all of that. And on a national scale, some people may know, some people may not know. Nigeria has a sovereign investment fund. And this sovereign investment fund, almost $4 billion or so, is for a country of our size, our human and natural resources, in my own personal, uninformed opinion, as the case may be, an abysmal figure. If Libya is in tens of billions of dollars, If all these other smaller, formerly third world countries are already doing trillions of dollars in their national, sovereign investment fund, we have no business being at 4 trillion. It is contributions like, the sample that you mentioned, where America is taking some of the workers' money to say, the children must invest from small. It is those kinds of things that establish sovereign investment funds that become the backbone of any economy. So I believe that as a third world country, we should take a second look at that sovereign investment fund. Even if we don't use it to do anything again, let's use it to just solve health and education. Don't let's do anything again, just health and education. Let there be affordable education, let there be affordable and accessible health, let there be, let every child go to school. Finish. That's at the national level. At the smaller, at the individual or family level, everybody can create their own national sovereign fund. For today, the habits that I would say everybody should take out is, once you've started working or once you started receiving some kind of stipend, even if it's 10% of it, there are simple, safe, straightforward investments that are SEC regulated, that you can start with 5,000 naira. The stocks, my first stock, or my first group of stocks that I personally bought was in 2019. And me, it was 5,000 naira. Me, I was buying those stocks. So even though I had prior experience, because my father had bought some stocks for us, we understood what it was before we started doing it by ourselves. But people would think you need so much money to invest, and then the next thing they do, they go. So even with 5K, even with 10K, the key would be to establish the habits. Whenever monies come in, after you've paid your tithe, if you are somebody that pays tithe, the next thing you should do is investment. It is the balance that you spend. It's not that you spend and then leave for investment. So just those two key things, if we're looking at the Nigeria of our dream. At the national level, let's restructure this our investment fund, our sovereign investment fund. Let's find a way to pull more money into it, and let the money be invested into sectors that are profitable and good for us, i.e., education and health. Let's even start from there. Let us have a booming economy. The more people are educated, the more money comes into the fund. The more people are active, they are not sick, and they are at work, the more money comes into the fund. The more workers that you can tax. That's number one. Number two, for our own nuclear economies, we should try our best, no matter how small. There are investments that are very, very small, SEC-regulated investments, mutual funds, stocks, treasury bills that have been, broken down into smaller pieces by banking associates who do that for their clients. There are conservative investments that they don't pay so much. They are not doubling your money, but at least by the time you do it over 10, 15 years, that compounding effect can have a good impact on you.
Okay. Thank you. Brad, wisdom. I'm just thinking there's a problem that many of us have. People believe that when they invest, some people will chop the money. I don't know whether you are sympathetic to that belief. They just believe it. I mean, they just believe it that, I mean, in Nigeria, if you don't eat your money, somebody will eat it for you. So if you put the money in the bank, the CEO of
Next
bank
of
will
kin,
chop it.
your next of kin, I go chop the money.
So how do you think we can change this narrative? I don't know. Do you think it's a problem? And if it is a problem, do you think we can work around it?
Yeah, it is a problem that actually exists. So just recently, a senior chairman of mine had something very similar. He's very frugal when it comes to spending money. Like he doesn't spend money on things that are not necessary. He's always saving his money, and he runs a business, a aluminum manufacturing business. And during one of how he even found out was that somebody had stolen. So his accountant, in quotes, had siphoned over 7 to 800 million from the business, and was living large, had built houses in her village, had done quite a number of things for herself. And he only found out because one of the clients that she had collected money from called him to verify that they were supposed to pay to a certain account. That was how he found out. And his wife told him something. The wife said, say you refuse to spend the money. Now somebody has used the money to enrich themselves. And immediately after that encounter, he changed all his cars and bought the latest cars and everything. And I was just laughing about it. But yeah, so when it comes to investments, yeah, we always have those scenarios or those cases where there are bad investments or there are businesses that go bad. But that doesn't also mean that they are not good investments. So, like Louis said earlier, there are easy investments that are SEC regulated. At least you know that because SEC is looking at them, they would behave properly. It's just like when you're at the traffic light and you see road safety standing there. Just because you know that they would catch you, and there's some level of decorum or obedience that comes upon you if you didn't want to obey the traffic law in the first place. So, for people looking to invest, I would say look at companies that are regulated by SEC or industries that are regulated by SEC, and always do due diligence. Just do due diligence and pray, because at the end of the day, a lot of things can happen, a lot of things can go wrong. But when we do due diligence and involve the necessary professionals, we can always, most times, mitigate against certain unnecessary risks and exposure when it comes to investment.
Okay, thank you. Now, I want Brian Louis to look into the camera and answer this question. Which is best, big organization or small organization? For instance, is it better for you to have 200 small poultry farms raising 100 birds, or one mega poultry farm that is selling shares? People are buying shares from me. You know what? You get what I'm saying? The people that are brewing kind in Niger Delta, can they pull themselves together and have a brewery, or every house brew their own kind? Which one do you think it makes sense in Nigeria and globally? One large mega distiller company, or small kind? You see, because when you travel abroad, one thing I see is that in Nigeria we have several tailors, but when you go abroad, you see only one garment factory that is employing 1,000 people, and it has enough money to do research and development. But when we come to Nigeria, like the example Bra Wisdom gave us, we don't have big corporations. We don't have people desiring to put money where they can rest or where they can relax. People put their money. If I remember many years ago, my uncle, somebody advised him, he's of blessed memory now. People advised him to turn his hospital to a PLC. And he said, no, I will not. I don't want anybody to, I just like it that it's a one-man show. I don't know. So look into the camera and advise Nigerians going forward. Will you advise Nigerians to invest in, not necessarily multinational, in big company like Dangote wants to go PLC? Will it be better, or we should have more modular refineries? Do you, I mean, things like that. Do you think people should invest in capital markets, or everybody should set up their own small industry? What's your take on that, Brother Louis?
Yes, my take, sir, is that there honestly
Look into
is
the
no.
camera as you are telling us, so that we'll see your eyes.
I'm looking into the camera. At the stage of development that we are now, we must come together and build bigger companies, bigger refineries, but there is a critical trust problem that exists across the Nigerian state. Everybody is getting usurped by their brother or their friend or their business partner. Lately in the social media, we are seeing the unconfirmed alleged reports of P Square and how the elder brother and the family are usurping one of the twins, and it's not great for trust building, so because this man does not trust the other man, if the other man was to come into his business, or the other woman was to come into their own business, they have nuances, they have requests, everybody is trying to one up the other person, or they've seen examples of it elsewhere, and they're just like, let me just be doing my own small thing, jeje. which is why our businesses really transcend the first generation that brought them about. However, what we need, though, that's the thing that we need, not the thing that we need is for all of these smaller businesses to come together and function as one. For example, if I were to do a farming initiative or raise a fund for agriculture, me personally, I will not favor subsistence farmers, because I feel like there are several interventions for them, and like I would want something at scale. I would be more me personally, I'll be more excited about somebody who has very huge machinery. He's looking at some 120,000 hectares of land, and he's looking at filling in the gap of whatever cash crops, soybeans or maize or whatever, that gap in production. I'm more excited about a project like that. And while it may not touch as many families, once you have that big one that you're employing the bulk people, somebody has seen that it's possible. They will bring another model. So another person, they will bring another model. Now, Dangote, is the player that everybody knows, but Bua is coming fast behind him. And we don't know the next generation billionaire that's going to come behind them that would also give them a run for their money. The modular refineries are fine, but we need that big refinery for capacity. The small one-man businesses are fine, but we need that conglomerate for capacity. So, in a nutshell, we must have the conglomerates. Me, I'm all for conglomerates.
Brother Wisdom.
Yes,
Brother
sir.
Wisdom. One of the major takeaway of this program is a shift of mindset. The Nigeria of my dream. We know there's something wrong here, but we are just trying to find what it is. We want to shift the mindset. For instance, in construction industry, people, the trend nowadays is for people to build high rise like they have in Onitsha. One person owns one floor, as against, because land is finishing in Onitsha. So what is your take? And then how do we build trust?
Okay, so while we're still on the conglomerate issue, let me just backtrack. I agree with Louis that we need conglomerates, and to be honest, we need these businesses to band together. Why? Is because we're currently, you mentioned the kai industry, right? And there is no difference between what they are doing and what Jack Daniels started doing some couple of years ago. The only difference was Jack Daniels had a global outlook and said, oh, we want to be able to export Jack Daniels to every corner of the world. We want to be able to export Coca-Cola to every part of the world. So we have to operate at a standard. So I know that my Coca-Cola tastes the same here today. It tastes the same here tomorrow. As simple as Zobo making is, I'm not saying it's a simple, but as basic as it is, we are still here. A lot of vendors are still here to standardize their operation, that it doesn't even taste the same. A lot of restaurants today, their rice tastes good, tomorrow their rice doesn't. So part of the things that we need to do is we need to align with international standard or set standards for ourselves. Now, going back to the question you asked me about how do we I've lost the question. I've actually forgotten the question. I'm trying to get the
Well,
question.
you're
Yes.
on track. The conversation is
Okay.
collaborating to build something big, like
Yes.
in construction industry. The
Okay, yes.
trend now is people pulling
So yeah,
resources together to build high
together.
rise.
Now for construction industry, we should look at what is the construction industry aiming to solve. Nigeria currently has a housing deficit of over 23 million and rising, right? And to be honest with you, the only way we can solve that problem is by going up. It's not by spreading out, but by going up. And by going up, it simply means building high rises, right? Like we have in Singapore, like we have in Hong Kong, like we have in China, and the rest. It will surprise you to know that I think the highest story building we have, Louis, do we have up to 50, or what's the
We
highest
don't have
story
a
building we have?
50-story building in Nigeria
Good.
anywhere. No 50
We don't
story
have
building.
a 50 story building in Nigeria. And one would say, why don't we? There are underlying issues that have sort of brought about the limitations. One is the lack of patient capital. High rising requires a lot of effort. When it comes to building high rise, you require a lot of foreign currency because most of the materials you're using are imported. So the local industry does not support some of these, or they don't produce to standard. So that means I have to constantly import these materials in, which means I need some level of effort. And with our fluctuating exchange rates and as high as it is, I'm always going to be at a loss as against a developer that is building bungalows and selling it and just flipping and going and going. It's an easy way to go, but it is not adding significant value to our architectural economy, right? Yes, a lot of people have come together. There've been a lot of initiatives where people have come together, contributed money to build certain projects, but that still comes down to the factor of trust. Most times it doesn't always end well because of certain disagreements or certain misalignments here and there, and the whole thing falls apart. So the first thing we need to do is we need to identify how best can we ensure that people's investments are secured, right? So which companies are doing that? How are they going about it? And we need some certain, Nigerians, we don't like to employ professionals, or we don't like to employ and consult with consultants, right? Because that money we think we're paying consultants, we think it's a waste. We think it doesn't apply to anything. But if you're going into an industry, or you're going into a project, and you're employing consultants or professionals, as it's me, it will litigate you against a lot of headaches that would have arisen in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Bro Wisdom. This question, we are beginning to round up now, so I'm going to be pointing out. Okay, we have a comment online. The next voice you will hear now is from the studio. Studio, please read the comment online and then let's see.
Okay, before we can build trust, our institutions need to work because people need to know that even if humans break trust, the system will still be fair.
Okay, we need to build our legal system. We need to build our prison yard. So if I say that before we can build why you laugh? Is it funny? There's no prison yard to lock.
No, so just in contribution to that prison yard, the House has passed the state policing bill, right? And one of the bottlenecks that's going to happen with that is if you're handing over state police to the states, as it were, then the states needs to build prisons, because currently all the prisons we have in Nigeria are owned and run by the federal government. Right, so the states would also need to invest significantly in building prisons. That's why I heard laughing when you said we need to build prisons.
No, but the truth of the matter is that the Nigeria of our dream, we are working on how we can ensure that when you bail is free, and when you go to the police station, you don't have to provide money to buy stationaries. So whether it is a federal prison or state prison, prisoners have to contribute towards their feeding, otherwise they will not eat. So I think it is just a matter of who is your principal, who you are contributing to. So if they catch you, you go to prison, you pay rent in the prison. So I think we have been used to paying in the police station and bill us. So now we need to do that according to what Ife is saying. Brian Louis, what do you think? I mean, because now the conversation, my major concern is, when I look at the way systems are run outside of Nigeria, I see a lot of collaborative efforts. I see Casco, I see Costco, what they call, I see shopping mall that is owned by one organization and everybody is taking their pepper there. Everybody is taking their alubosa there. When you come to Nigeria, you see everybody selling their, and they don't have freezer to keep it. So half of the things spoils. But outside this country, you see the what is it called now? The IKEA of this world. But when you come to Nigeria, you see enough carpenters. All of them don't have materials. They can't transfer. So you see that because we don't have things to scale, there are so much waste because we don't have things to scale. But if you have it to scale, when you travel, you see all these long caravan buses that are taking farm produce from the hinterland all over the country outside there. But in Nigeria, you see tuke, you see Okada, you see somebody carrying a whole cow on top of Okada, and then you see blood all over his body, and you're wondering what happened.
This thing is not funny. It's,
But
it's
we're
actually
building the
not funny.
Nigeria. So we need to bring this into consciousness of the people that for us to make sense, we have to go out there and copy what we see there and implement it there, because our building Nigeria from the bottom up, it's important to get these guys that are in the local government, the farmers, that listen, we have to cooperate. We have to you have to come together. Now, if first said trust is the problem. So we have to go to the churches. I don't know what we are going to tell them. We have to go to the mosque before we can build trust. Our institution needs to work. So how do we go from here? Brother Louis, how do we go from here? It's not funny, but
Honestly,
we must go.
we must. And I think that the religious institutions are now also taking a stand to let some of the grievances of the people be known. We saw the Catholic cardinal, the leader of the Catholic Church in Nigeria, Cardinal Onaikon, go to the government house to have that. Hopefully, we'll see from other sects as well, where some of the religious leaders can go and discuss some of these issues. So I think that in terms of systems, it depends what you want to see happen more, reward it. What you don't want to see happen, punish it. It's really that straightforward. And the only missing link is political will. Every other thing is available. We have the natural and human resources, we have the good weather, we have the police force, the equipment, whether they are technologically advanced or not. If we don't have them at home, we can import them. There is nothing that we need to make our country normal that is not available. The only thing that is missing is that political will. So you spoke about what is cold storage or cold chain. People transferring foods from farms in the outskirts through the hinterlands to shopping malls that are co-shared sales spaces. Now bring that same boss here. The potholes that will plague you, your car will spoil on the second trip. Okay, even if the road is good, we are clearly seeing that these lines are marked. People are driving in the middle of the lines and increasing the risk of accidents. And then every so often when you pass, you see that a trailer load of goods and services has spurred on the road, and then the villagers will come, loot it, and go away. Because the things that we need the habits that we need to be seen more, we don't encourage it. Most of
So,
the songs that we listen to
okay.
as young people, and sir, you may not know this because your generation had a better, your music, this thing was slightly, if we are going to just say logical rating, it was a bit better. But now what we hear in our music is that spending money like a politician. Is that what politicians are supposed to be doing in a music song? Are they supposed to be spending money? Is it not businessmen or forex traders that are supposed to be spending money? The person that says spending money like a politician, he's not mad now. It's what he's seeing that he's singing. You understand it? So we need to encourage the behaviors that we want to see continue and punish the behaviors that we don't want to see.
Brother
So
Wisdom,
it's when we start that we can have this.
don't leave the matter like this. So we are here to change the narrative. No grief for anybody. What are we going to do to make Nigeria better? Because you see, the issue here is not just painting the gloomy picture. The issues here are what are the steps that we must take to give the Nigeria of our dream a reality. I used to tell my staff every day that dreams only come to pass when you wake up. So if you are on your bed and you are still dreaming, your dream will not come to pass. So it is only when you wake up. So what are the steps, actionable steps that Nigerians, families, individuals, the government needs to take? We are going to spend the next 5 minutes looking at those things. What are the steps? What are the actionable steps that every one of us must take to bring about the Nigeria that we indeed dream of? The Constitution has given us our ethics and values. And some of these things, I don't know, but I'm of the opinion that except we build investment, because it starts from investment. And thank God, Brother Louis is here. It comes from nice accommodation. And thank God, Brother Wisdom is here. And then it graduates to collaborative efforts. One of our callers says we must build trust and structures must be in place. So that might be the responsibility of government. But what is the responsibility of individuals? Over to you, Brother Wisdom. What are the steps that we must take? What are the steps that individuals must take, that government must take, that churches must take, that mosques must take to give us the Nigeria of our dream? It is not a picture of gloom, it's a picture of hope. Over to you, Brother Wisdom.
Thank you very much, sir. So I think one of the first steps we can take is getting involved, right? Because like you rightly said, dreams can only happen when we wake up, right? And we cannot sit in our houses and, paint a pretty picture or set examples or talk about brilliant ideas of how we want Nigeria to work. And we are now leaving it to the imaginations of people that don't have the imaginations of the same Nigeria of our dreams that we want to achieve. So by getting involved, it necessarily doesn't have to be politics. We could start with our immediate domain, right? How do we want Nigeria to be a better place? Starting from me, for example, what do I do? What does Wisdom do every morning to ensure that the Nigeria of my dreams is valid? Because one of the things is we can't go and start removing the logs in someone else's eyes. We've not removed the logs in our eyes. So what are those things that I will do as an individual that goes contrary to the Nigeria of my dream? Do I do bypass? Do I beat the traffic lights? Do I litter the streets? And all of those things. So the little things, if we set in our mind that we're going to do them, then we can now start having the advanced conversations, right? We can now start having advanced conversations towards, how do we make the lives of people better, right? How do we bring in foreign direct investments? How do we copy from Singapore? I saw something recently online and I was baffled. They were attributing Gary either to Argentina or Brazil, and they were calling it cassava flakes. But it was literally, so when I watched the processing of this thing, I said, but this is Gary that we have here, right? That we drink, that we've been known for a very long time. But the white man now has done something, made it look nice, and is claiming it, right? And these things are constantly going on over and over again. I can run you through a blueprint I have in my head when it comes to making Nigeria work. I think me and Louis had that conversation today. If they run Nigeria as a business, right, and every state is supposed to take care of itself, you run the state as a business, you have your KPIs, you have your projections for what the state's supposed to be. There are a lot of states that are going to be making a lot more money. For example, Bayelsa State and Rivers State, aside from the money they generate from IGRU, aside from the money they generate from oil, their oil surplus and exploration and all of that, they will generate a lot of money from fishing because we have abundance of the sea bodies. So all the South states that are bordering the ocean, we will make so much money from fishing, a whole lot more from fishing. If Benue State should focus on producing just cassava alone and bamboos alone, they will make so much money from exports, right? But because we've now begun to just sit down, relax, FAC allocation is going to come, whether I do anything or not, I will just get it done. So we have to start asking ourselves the questions. If there is no more FAC allocation, how do we survive? How do states survive? How would they be able to generate money? How would they be able to make the lives of their citizens and indigents better? I think the question starts with, what can I do every day that I wake up, I go outside? How can I make Nigeria better? And hopefully we all agree and it transcends into a national outbreak.
Now you are talking about what can I do, brother Louis? What do you have to say to this conversation? Because we have agreed that less than 0.1% of Nigerians are in the civil service. And every time we talk about minimum wage, we talk about wages. Of course, the government is the biggest spender. But what Brother Wisdom just said now has nothing to do with government. It has to do with private sector initiative. The only reason why they can produce cassava flakes is because there is money to do research and development. It's because there is money to buy equipment. The subsistent farmer cannot. There are some people in my village that have been trying to make gari. They cannot even make good gari because they don't have money to buy firewood. Meanwhile, those people that are doing cassava flakes, they are using gas. So somebody cannot get money to buy firewood. You are not telling him to compete with the man that is using electric oven, using gas flare oven, that has transport, that has chain, motorized everything, and then somebody will go and use his head to carry cassava from the how many cassava bags can he carry in a day? We can't compete because we're not doing anything to scale. What do you think how do you think we can go from here to where we want to get to? Brother Louis, help Nigeria, please.
Absolutely. I don't know if I can help Nigeria on my own, but I mean, in the context of the conversation,
they are hearing you. Nigerians are hearing you. Help us.
Yes, in the context of the conversation, from a personal point of view, I think that in addition to the things that we have said earlier, which is don't spend everything you have, save and invest some. Another thing that we can do is we can take advantage of the already existing facilities. Sir, there are so many interventions that already exist and new interventions that are coming on board. There are several funds. There are funds of funds. There are grants. There are reduced return facilities. There's everything is available to us. In fact, even in anyway, topic for another day. Don't let me say, but there are the money is available.
Say
What we now
where
need.
the money is so that Nigerians can go there tomorrow morning.
No, I was just about to use an example of some of the states in Nigeria. I know that there is a particular funding available to them in terms of education where they need to bring 50 and they can access the 50% of that fund, and the fund becomes available to them for education, for building schools, for whatever they want to use it to foster education. But over 90% of them are not accessing the fund, and that fund is a lot. It's over 98 billion. I mean, some very, very interesting high figure like that. So the thing is that if we are ready as an individual now, what I can do, I believe very much in the private sector. As an individual now, what I would do is, who are the people that are still carrying cassava on their head in my village? Can I gather them into a cooperative? Can we package that cooperative and present to a World Bank intervention? And then can we extract 500K USD, 1 million USD, and then use that to get ourselves tractors, use that to get ourselves a delivery truck, some cold storage chain, the facilities that would have normally or naturally needed to exist so that the people in my village can move the cassava from their planting fields to the nearest market. So we need to have more and more of those kinds of conversations. So the people that have quote and unquote gone to school, come and use your school now. Will you go to school? And so so let us talk about packaging the aspects of the society that we are interested in. If it is underground economy, and what they are doing currently is that they are just exporting the raw coal or the raw bitumen or the whatever the thing is that is raw. You've gone to school, use your school. Let's bring the local miners together, make them into a modular mining, a small modular mining outfit, and then let's add some value and export and extract more foreign exchange into the country. So for on a personal note, I think private sector, which they're already doing so well. I like what Dangote is doing. He's my mentor from afar. I like some of the advice that I also get from my father-in-law, from my father. These are advices that are pushing me towards the angle of what in the private sector can you do as you are making money, people around you are making money, and then now there's even some money to save, and then now there's some money to invest, and then small by small we can get better while also involving yourself in politics to the extent
You,
where
you know what we are going to do from the studio next week. We are going to continue this conversation, and brother Wisdom, I'm going to expect
Yes, sir.
you. I'm going to expect you and brother Louis to take 15 minutes each to tell Nigerians where the money is, because the reason why people are not going to school is because of poverty. The reason why they are doing crime is because of poverty. And then we come to the studio and say there is money. It sounds like we are insulting them, because people are suffering. They said 87% of Nigerians are living below poverty line, and we said there is money. There is something wrong in the ecosystem. There maybe it is evil spirits. We need to get our pastors to pray and deliver it. Because everybody I speak to, they said there is money. And then when you go out, they are hungry. You cannot go to church without somebody coming to draw your agbada after service. You cannot go to mosque without seeing people line up by the side of the street with bowl waiting for food. And we say there is money. And I keep wondering, where is this money? Anytime I go to the village, I must put like 100,000. Put money in my pocket to give 20,000, 5,000, because somebody will tell you, well, my pekin is sick, my child is hungry, and then we say there is money. So next week, by the grace of God, God keep our soul. Please, you are the youth. You are the one that knows where the money is. You will show Nigerians where the money is. And then Brother Louis will also speak to us on how we can bring collective effort. Maybe the money is in collective effort. Maybe what is wrong is that we are too selfish. So I want to look at it so that we can truly help Nigerians to build the Nigeria of our dream. Brother Louis, what is your final take and your commitment to next week's conversation on how to take Nigeria to a place of money, showing us where the money is? And then, Brother Wisdom, after you are going to do that, what's your commitment to do that?
Thank you so much, sir. Quite robust. Me, I'm always excited for the conversations. I'm also excited to learn. I hope we have a lot of comments that day so that we can have people talk about, oh, this idea doesn't work. And then when you said the idea does not work, you will now give us the one that will work so that we can all get to the final. And I mean, in closing, the Nigeria of our dreams is very, very achievable. We just need to be ready, as a people to achieve it. So I'm completely 100% ready for next week, sir.
So, Brother Wisdom, I see you're already excited.
Yes, we can. It's an opportunity to sort of add to and also learn. Whenever you speak, two things happen. You pour out of your head, and you also get to learn. So I'm excited for the opportunity, and we'll see how we can also really find the money as well. Because you too, sir. You will also tell us, sir, where you can get some of the money as well.
Me, I can tell you where you can see the problem. I'm looking for, I know where the problem are. I know where 2,000
Okay.
Nigerians that want to go to school. and they don't have money. I know I have to pay some children's school fees next week that I don't know who is their father or their mother. That's what I know. But I keep hearing that government, even, you know, the irony of it is that government will say that they have a program that wants to help the poor. And I keep asking, who are the people benefiting from this program that is helping the poor? And who are the poor that are being helped? Because the poor that I know on the street are not being helped too. So anyway, till we meet next week, it has been Dr. Sawo Latin David on Vox Edu. Brother Wisdom, will you say
Yes, sir.
goodbye to Nigeria and let
Goodbye, Nigeria. See you next week.
Brother Louis?
Goodbye, Nigeria, and see you next week.
So next week is going to be explosive. We are going to begin to come home to looking for where the money is. How do we get there? Because I just don't like what I am seeing here. And we need to bring hope to the people. This issue of working in silo that has kept us in poverty for such a long time, we need to begin to work around it and look for how we can build a Nigeria that will indeed work for all and sundry, where the government will put in place structures and systems that will support cooperation, where the private sector drivers will put their brain to work to create a commonwealth that will be for the good of all. From here, it's good night and see you next week by the grace of God. Bye.